Hey fam, what's up? Robert Anton, robertanton.com. So you want to be a singer? Why you want to do that? Okay, so it's been a little while since I did So You Want to Be a Singer video, and I guess I've just been involved in a lot of other things. What I wanted to talk about today for you guys is contracts. Always get a contract. And why do I say that? Well, you know, I always kind of blog about things that I'm going through at the time because I want you to see what happens as you are a professional performer. And so just recently, maybe a few weeks ago, well, let me start it out. Last year I auditioned for a band, and you know, I sing with different bands and stuff like that. And so we had a problem getting together and everything because the times weren't right and everything. So he called me back again another time for a different audition. And so we auditioned, and the band leader really loved me and wanted to book me and things. So I explained to her that I have a lot of other things going on, that I have my own music, you know, that I didn't want to be with a solid band to be a regular singer, but I wanted to like kind of job in. But she wanted me to be her main singer. So I was like, well, we'll see what we can do. We can work it out. Explained exactly where I was and what would go on. And so I sang with them last year through several gigs, and then the beginning of this year they ended up booking me for say 30 gigs during the year all the way through December. And so I was like, well, yeah, okay, cool. Well, I actually ended up booking the dates and got my contract and everything, and it was just kind of like an email thing, the contract that I got. And so at some point I heard little grumblings about things going on in the office and changes that were happening on that. So eventually I get a call, and we did maybe 2 or 3 gigs this year, and I get a call, and it's like, well, you know, they're changing up this and they're changing up that, you know, and we wanted to get like a hip-hop singer and or somebody who does rap, you know, blah, blah, a hip-hop specialist is what they called it, you know. And I do a few raps, but I'm not gonna, you know, try to learn 50 million raps because that's not what I do. You know, I'm a singer. So, you know, they basically had to cancel me for the gigs they had me booked for. And I was like, well, I mean, you know, I got this contract and this, that, and the other. So what ended up happening is I basically get like, what do you call it, a severance pay, which is I get a certain amount of my pay for a certain number of weeks that I was booked, you know, which is cool, you know. It's good. So, you know, I got a few checks coming in that I actually didn't have to go out and do a job for. But this is what you have to do. You have to make sure that you get a contract, because in cases where things like this happen, you want to make sure that you've got your backup. You know, if they didn't offer me anything at all, maybe I would take them to court and get whatever money that they owe me for this time that they've promised that I will have a job. And I probably could still do that, but I really got along well with the band leader, and you know, those kind of things kind of get around, you know, when people hear about that. But not only that, is I kind of trust my instincts, and I feel like things are going on there, they're having problems, so you know, I can just let it go. I feel like, you know, God don't do nothing, you know, that ain't right. He puts you where you need to be when you are supposed to be there. So like, you know, things are on the up and up, and I can just go ahead and let it go. Now then, if something happens and I find out in a few weeks or a month or two that they were trying to jerk me around, then again I can go to civil court and, you know, sue them or whatever. But I don't know. I don't believe that I'm going to go through that. That brings up this one time. I was trying forever and ever to get on a cruise ship when this was about 15 years ago. And I was doing these auditions, and I was doing great, you know, but nothing came of it. But then someone recommended me for a job, and I sent in a videotape, you know, and they loved it, and they said they'll call me. Well, maybe 18 months later, I was just finishing up a show, and they called and said, well, are you available for the next 6 months? And so I was like, yeah, you know, and they were like, well, we want to fly you down to Florida, you know, I'm like, to audition. And they're like, no, we want you to do the show. So they basically hired me for the show. So we had 3 weeks of rehearsal, and then we went on to the ship, and it was great, you know. We got on the ship and we did our thing and everything, but then there were things going on, and people weren't getting paid. So it was about a week went by, and I think we got paid every 2 weeks. Maybe we might have even got paid every week, but I think it might have been every 2 weeks, but I didn't get my paycheck. So I called up the office, and I was like, listen, I'm not doing any more shows until I get paid. And they were like, okay, well, don't worry about it. So I was like, no, I'm not doing the show tonight unless you guarantee me that I'm going to get paid, and I want it in writing. So they didn't do that, so I didn't end up doing the show. So the next day, we got back into Tampa, Florida, and I was leaving the ship. Well, as I'm leaving the ship, the U.S. Marshals are walking on to seize the ship. Because they haven't been paying their bills. Turns out they were leveraging to buy another ship, and they weren't paying their bills. So what ended up happening is the company went bankrupt. And I was like, oh my God. And again, I could have sued them, and I looked into that and everything. But, you know, sometimes as performers, it's better just to pass things over. And what ended up happening, I got to go to Nassau, Bahamas twice. I got to go to Cozumel, Mexico, Cocoa Beach, Florida, Tampa, Florida, Key West in 2 weeks. You know, so I was just like, whatever, I'll just take it as a free trip. You know, so that happened. And things do happen, and crazy stuff. You know, sometimes we as performers get really treated bad, I believe. You know, you go to a club and you book a date and they cancel you, you know, maybe because they get someone who's more popular. And what can you do? A lot of times you can't do anything. Sometimes you can talk bad about them. You know? Sometimes you can't do anything. You know, producers and loan sharks and these people who are they say they set your music to music and they're going to make you a star. They set your lyrics to music and going to make you a star. I mean, there's so many things going on. The best thing that you can do is just to get a contract. You know, with producers, a few people called me about what kind of contract they should have with their producers or whatnot. You know, the contracts that I have are mostly just us both signing something. I don't know if you ever watch Judge Judy or any of these shows. A lot of times when people are arguing about stuff, all they want is, did you get something in writing? Do you have pictures of this? Did you both sign off on this? You know, was this agreement? And if it's in writing, who do they usually go for? The person who got it in writing and it says right here, I am going to pay so and so and so. The judge says, you said you were going to pay this, you owe this, and that's that. So a lot of times that's what it comes down to. Just get it in writing, people. Get a contract. Naturally, if you have a major contract for big money or that's going to have you locked in for a year, 2, 3, you need to make sure that you go to a lawyer and negotiate that contract. Don't do it on your own. Don't just sign away. I was just in a business class with some people, and a guy talked about how a company basically stole his film. And when he explained it, and we ended up talking about it, they didn't steal it. He signed it away. But they put him under a little pressure, and he didn't go to a lawyer, and he put his name on the dotted line. He feels like they stole it. They didn't steal it from him, really. He signed away his rights. And that's something that, it's terrible and it happens. But if you do it, you are an adult, you are liable for that, and it's your fault if you don't go out to a lawyer and get things done the way they should be done. But as in small contracts, even with friends, when you're writing stuff together, you're doing stuff together, just get an agreement. Most of my agreements for the songs that I write with someone else are just 50-50 split. If I make money, you make money. If you make money, I make money. If you're paying up front, then you need to decide how much you want to give to somebody, or if it's just going to be a work for hire. And if it is a work for hire, meaning they get paid so much and you own everything. I have some stuff that I do like that also. Again, if I haven't answered a bunch of your questions, or if you have more about contracts that are just simple little things, you can put comments down below. You can email me if it's a private thing, or if you need a whole lot of space to write. Thank you guys so much. Make sure you check out my CD on iTunes, cdbaby.com. This is Robert Anton, robertanton.com. Stop by the site and sign up on the guest list and the email list. All right, later. Peace.